Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I have the great pleasure of being your e-recruiter and your host for tonight's webinar, where we will be focused on the SJV PRIME BS to MD pathway. Quite the mouthful. You are in for quite a treat. We have so much fantastic information for you tonight. But before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick Zoom reminders. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. If at any time you would like to zoom into something on your screen, we do have quite a few graphics to show you tonight. If you'd like to zoom into those, click on View Options in the upper portion of your screen. Also, we have saved some time at the end of our presentation to get to your questions live. Go ahead and click on the Q&A button. Send in those questions. We will take a look at those and save those until the end, and we will answer those live for you. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. I am so thrilled to be here with you tonight to help moderate this wonderful event. At this time, I'd like to hand things over to my friend Noreen.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for this webinar. This is going to cover SJV PRIME Plus BS to MD pathway, as well as the alternate pathway, which is SJV PRIME. In terms of the agenda today, we're going to go big picture, starting off with the state of California's physician outlook, and then move right into more specifics regarding PRIME Plus and what we're looking for regarding application and ideal candidate. We're starting off here in these first couple of slides is statistics on the distribution of physicians in California. The graph on the left is numerically and graphically showing you the distribution of primary care physicians. And you'll notice the Inland Empire and the San Joaquin Valley have the least amount of doctors in our region. What we should be at is at 60 related to the 100,000 population, per 100,000 population, and we are below that. The graph on the right will show the distribution of specialists in the region, and that means cardiologist, oncologist, anything that regarding doctors that you need to get referred to. And those numbers show on the bottom Inland Empire and San Joaquin Valley, also again in the lowest number of doctors and specialists for the area. We should be on average at 131 per 100,000 population, and we are not even near 100. Regarding primary care physicians, again, the graph on the left shows the same information in a bar chart, with San Joaquin Valley, again, the region in California with the least amount of primary care doctors. The graph on the right is comparing California to other states and the average for the United States. And what this is showing you is in response to Florida, New York, as well as California, the majority of doctors are older. And I'm highlighting these statistics to let you know what our mission is regarding San Joaquin Valley. Additionally, in terms of medical school, you will notice that about 22 to 24% of physicians in California actually got their degree out of state or outside of the United States. And then the statistic on the right will show you of those that did their medical school, those that stay in California are the ones that did their medical school in California. These are important statistics to remember, and you'll understand why we've created the SJV PRIME Plus program. Additionally, if you're interested in terms of representation, the bottom three circles will show on the left circle the active patient care physicians and their demographic. What it means by active patient care are those physicians that are taking patients at least 50% or more full-time, and it's not including those that are no longer taking patients. And in the middle, it's the demographic for California medical students graduating from medical school. And on the right, it is the California population demographic. What this is really showing you then is that representation of doctors to the population is not equal or does not mirror the representation of California. So in terms of the University of California, they're really committed to the initiative of supporting underserved areas and underserved regions regarding health and healthcare providers in the regions that need it the most. And that's the entire reason why the University of California created PRIME programs, and the acronym for Program in Medical Education. For this For this graph here, anything in teal or aqua is where most of the support is needed for healthcare access and healthcare providers. You will see here, the University of California PRIME programs actually has been in existence now for almost 20 years, with the first PRIME program opening at UC Irvine School of Medicine in 2004. What I'd like to highlight for you on this slide is in the middle, 2011. 2011 was the beginning of training future doctors for the San Joaquin Valley, and that originated with the UC Davis School of Medicine. The program switched over in oversight to UC San Francisco School of Medicine in 2019, more simply because UCSF has the campus in Fresno. So separate from all the other programs in PRIME, UCSF SJV PRIME was the one that originated training for future doctors in the San Joaquin Valley. What you will see on the far right is UC Merced is the newest partner to UCSF and UCSF Fresno, and we are the newest partner in terms of SJV PRIME Plus. The difference between PRIME and PRIME Plus is that we are taking high school students early in terms of a BS to MD pathway. Again, just wanted to show you what this looked like regarding the commitment of the University of California to serving the most underserved areas of the state regarding healthcare and healthcare providers. So the most competitive applicant to any PRIME program will be those that understand the region or the population in need. So specific to the Central Valley, there are things happening here that aren't necessarily happening in other parts of the state. Hospitals are closing, life expectancy is different, and even after a atmospheric river and floods rainstorm, some regions of our area are required to boil their water. Other things of concern are human trafficking, homelessness, as well as COVID, and then how to support the other populations in the Central Valley. Again, those that are most competitive for any PRIME program, and specifically SJV PRIME and SJV PRIME Plus, are those that have direct knowledge, experience, participation, and understand these needs. It is completely possible, especially in the most outer regions and the most dispersed regions of the Central Valley, that someone has not gotten any health care or gone to a hospital or a standing clinic. If they've gotten any health care at all, the majority of that health care possibly is from a mobile clinic. So as you can see, there's, again, different reasons why our Central Valley has different needs compared to other parts of the state. This slide right here is showing two different pathways in terms of becoming a doctor for the Central Valley. The one at the top is the one that has existed since 2011, and that is SJV PRIME. That is a traditional pathway to medical school where someone would have to apply by the time they are completing their bachelor's, their BA or their BS. In this particular pathway, you can go to any university and you can major in anything and then apply directly to medical school. The SJV PRIME students who are in that program started all of their medical school, started the beginning of their medical school in San Francisco, and they're finishing all their training at UCSF Fresno. The newest pathway, SJV PRIME Plus BS to MD, is the pathway on the bottom. This is the newest pathway, and we've admitted our first class that started for this fall of 2023. Those students in our first cohort applied last year, and they applied during their senior year of high school, and they're going to be completing their bachelor's at UC Merced and complete all of their medical training here regarding their 4 years of medical school and finishing at UCSF Fresno. Just wanted you guys to know the difference between the two, and hopefully by the end of this session, you'll be able to choose which one is the right path for you. So again, what is it? Specific to SJV PRIME Plus, it is an 8-year, 12-student cohort with training completely in the Central Valley. For the 4 years of medical school, the first year and a half will be all of the professional training, doctor skills, pre-clerkship, before actually going to clinical sites and doing clinical bedside and site-based work, which is all at UCSF Fresno. These are the two, again, differences between Foundations 1 and Foundations 2, and then eventually the career launch. Again, no one needs to move to San Francisco for this portion. Again, it's a pathway strictly all in the Central Valley. In terms of applying, the typical application process would be to start the UC application, and then an additional application is needed for our program called the supplemental, which would include letters of rec and moving on forward to interviews and then acceptance. What I want to highlight here is old information is that there's a December 15th deadline. The updated information actually is the supplemental application is due December 7th, with letter of recommendations from your recommenders due December 14th. We are moving up these dates because we would like to do interviews early in order to send out program notices in March. Now, a reminder, there's two different applications. One is the UC application, information there showing on the left, and that is due on November 30th. The second application is the Prime Plus BS MD pathway application. And again, if there's old information out there, I want to highlight that we've changed it from 8 prompts to 6 prompts. It is similar to PIQs with a 350-word response. And again, that portion is due in December. Delineating both PIQs and the supplemental a little differently. The prompts on the left are showing UC PIQs with 8 prompts, and the student gets to select 4. The seniors last year had 8 prompts, but we've changed that again, trying to correct any old information. This year, it'll be 6 prompts with more focus on commitment to medicine, San Joaquin Valley, and keeping the other items that are very important to the School of Medicine, which is values and ethics, diversity, equity, inclusion. Please note that regarding the supplemental application, as you write that, know that the audience and the readers for that application are medical faculty, physicians, medical researchers, public health researchers, etc., from all of our partner campuses, UCSF, UC Merced, and UCSF Fresno. And ask yourself how you would write those responses differently. In terms of a qualifying major, we're asking students to choose anything in yellow. Anything in yellow has been designated by the Academic Senate as lining up directly to the prerequisites for medical school. If you choose anything outside of the yellow, that would just mean you're a regular pre-med student, not in Prime Plus, and you are going to figure out how to integrate and embed in the prerequisites for medical school. Again, specific to application to San Joaquin Valley Prime Plus program, you must pick one of the yellow. What is new this year is Public Health Bachelor of Science. That is a qualifying major. Do not pick Public Health EA. That is not a qualifying major. Again, that is new for this year. And then in terms of the technical side of completing this application and letting us know you're interested in the program and you want your application read by us, Prime Plus, you have to pick the major that says SJV Prime Plus BS to MD as your primary major, not your alternate major. So if you choose the one at the top, we will never get your application because it doesn't say BS to MD or Prime Plus. If you choose alternate major, we will not get your application either because it needs to be the primary major. Again, emphasizing you must choose a qualifying track, and in the application itself, it must say SJV Prime Plus BS to MD major. So as a big overview and summary, applying to this program means applying to the UC system, opening up the UC application, and in choosing one of your campuses, you must choose UC Merced as the campus because SJV Prime Plus is here at UC Merced. At that point, all of the majors are going to show up and you would need to choose an SJV Prime Plus qualifying track. And after submitting a completed application prior to November 30th deadline, the computer will send a link to the supplemental where you would upload your responses. If you are unsure about applying to Prime Plus, again, this is an application as a senior in high school. Everything else in red is just a typical medical school timeline in terms of a pathway. So I'm shifting gears for a second so that you'd at least know the other potential pathway if, again, you don't see yourself qualifying for Prime Plus or interested in jumping in right away. The other pathway is the San Joaquin Valley Prime program. Again, between the top and the bottom, the one at the top means you can go to any university, major in anything, and then during your senior year, apply to the UCSF School of Medicine. And then if you're interested in coming back to be a doctor for the Valley, all of that training will be completed at UCSF Fresno. SJV Prime Plus, the reminder is we're looking for high school students who are ready to jump into an 8-year commitment to finish their bachelor's here and finish their medical training Fresno to become a future doctor for the Central Valley. If you're interested in SJV Prime, we invite you to go to one of their webinars. The next one is Monday, October 16th. You'd be able to speak directly to UCSF Fresno staff person, physician, and medical student. Now, either program, either SJV Prime or SJV Prime Plus, uses the Bridges curriculum in terms of medical school training. I think we get asked all the time about what does it look like to start at UC Merced, and is it a quality program regarding getting your medical degree as a doctor? What this is showing you again is it is the UCSF School of Medicine that awards the medical degree. They oversee the training for medical school, and they use the same curriculum. In terms of what we're looking for an ideal applicant, there are 4 broad areas that we're interested in. Academic rigor is one of the main things because of the math and science and STEM courses that continue throughout undergrad as well as medical school. And then a demonstration of something of continuous commitment. So to show us that you'd be able to pursue something that is 8 years over a long period of time. And then the last 2 is focus on the San Joaquin Valley. San Joaquin Valley, San Joaquin Valley, San Joaquin Valley. You'll be directly explaining your experiences and participation in the Central Valley, understanding the community, the population here and the needs here, and then explaining your commitment to being a doctor for the Central Valley. At some point, everyone has meet the same qualifications, and we're selecting 12 students from that group. We are not looking for the same student. We're not looking for the same experiences. We're not looking for the same thoughts or goals or values. We're looking for a diverse group of future doctors. This right here is showing photos of existing medical students at UCSF Fresno. We foresee some of the SJV Prime students mentoring the Prime Plus students, and then the video will highlight 3 in particular who decided to do SJV Prime. Again, we're not looking for the same kind of student. We're looking to see how you're explaining your background, experiences, and environment, and how they shaped you as a person, how you see the world, how you think, and then how you feel about being a doctor for the Central Valley. And then from there, we are looking to, again, select a diverse group of students. So learn how to explain your story, learn how to share who you are, and why you chose the activities that you did and how it shaped you as a person. At some point, the applications start separating themselves. Students do a really good job of explaining what they're doing now and what they've done in the past. And the suggestion is most of the work, and at least some of it, should be focused on the right, which is projecting, imagining, and envisioning, and explaining to us why you want to be a doctor for the Central Valley and why the experiences you've had can lead you in that direction. This allows the readers to understand how we can support you, as well as understand what that would look like for you to go through the entire training for 8 years, the curriculum that we have planned, etc. So as an overview, San Joaquin Valley Prime Plus is not a college going program. It is not a college readiness program. It is not a college exploration program. If you are unsure about being a doctor and you're still trying to explore healthcare, we ask you to consider another program at this time. It is a workforce development program, meaning we are training future doctors with the mission-focused intent of improving the healthcare and healthcare access of the Central Valley. It is an 8-year, 12-student cohort for newly incoming undergraduate freshmen. If you are not that student, you could still come back and be a doctor for the Central Valley by applying to SJV PRIME. Regardless of which program, the degree that is awarded is from the UCSF School of Medicine. So what is the offer to the student for PRIME to be a PRIME Plus scholar? When offers go out in March, the offer is a financial award, priority registration in the degree coursework and pre-med courses, a housing assignment on the living and learning community of the pre-med scholars that we have. No MCAT is required. MCAT meaning the medical test before medical school. That is not required for this group. And we hold your spot in medical school. This conditional acceptance, of course, is in the condition of completing the bachelor's successfully. And then throughout the 8-year journey, there will be community engagement, volunteerism, research, clinical observations, as well as dedicated mentors. Some updates to emphasize, again, old information is December 15th. The new information is December 7th is the deadline for the supplemental application, which is going to ask you for 2 names and email addresses for letters of recommenders. At that point, we would reach out and send a link to those recommenders who would then have to submit your recommendation by December 14th. So we encourage you to communicate with your recommenders now, let them know about these deadlines so they can work on your recommendation while not yet getting that link. Again, all of these access links are dependent on someone completing and submitting a UC application. No one gets an access link for an incomplete app or only an SJV PRIME Plus app. So continue with A through G coursework. That is what's required to apply to the UCs. Again, highlight your qualities and accomplishments of your UC application, anything from extracurricular to awards, etc. And then what you could be doing now is starting the UC application, again, choosing UC Merced as the major, and then PRIME Plus as the pathway you want to be considered for, indicating a qualifying major. And the supplemental application is actually available on the website in terms of the questions already being posted, the 6 questions that I mentioned. So you don't have to wait for the supplemental application link. You can already look for the 6 questions for the supplemental on our website. In the meantime, while you're doing that, this is actually how to get the link for submitting. You can only get the supplemental application link after you've completed the UC application. The sooner that you do that prior to November 30th, recommending do that prior to the Thanksgiving break, then the more time you'll have to receive the link and upload your responses. But consider that it'll take about a couple of days before the UC system knows that this application is for PRIME Plus. Once you get that link, please check your junk mail or spam to see that that notice might have gone there. Answer the supplemental questions and submit for the final version of your responses. And in terms of other steps, continue to ask your questions before deadline dates, work with counselors and advisors on any support, and then reflect and share how you want to explain your story, things you've accomplished, and how they help in terms of you becoming a future doctor for the Central Valley. My information is here. The one to remember is the email primeplus@ucmerced.edu. And if you're looking for other support, admissions at ucmerced.edu is available, as well as the phone number. We also have a regional advisor based on your location. If you're interested in connecting and understanding the diversity populations and cultures of the campus, we can connect you to those advisors. And then if you have specific questions about being undocumented or asking for those who are undocumented, then we can connect you again to that advisor as well. And now I turn it over to Ricky for any Q&A that we can start right now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Noreen. And would you mind actually just going back a couple of slides for that contact information? This would be a great time for the audience members to grab your smartphone, go ahead and take a couple of pictures of these slides. We'll go ahead and leave these up for a bit. That way you have this information later on. We are also dropping some of this critical information for you over into the chat box. So go ahead and take a look there. You can start clicking on some of those links as well and get those saved or bookmarked so that you can reference those later on. We know there's so much fabulous information that's been offered to you tonight. We want to make sure that you're able to capture as much of that as possible. And also good news, we are recording this event tonight and we can make this available later on for you to review at your leisure. And then you'll also have this information at your fingertips. All right, so Noreen, let's go ahead and jump into some of these incoming questions. We have quite a few coming in.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll start at the top. Does UC Merced have a pre-med major?
Any major is pre-med. And this is a general question. If you're looking to go to medical school separate from Prime Plus, you can enter medical school with any degree, with any major, as long as you're completed your BA and BS. For Prime Plus particularly, we're asking you to get a BS and we're asking you to choose any of the yellow. If you decide to be any major, social science, humanities, fine art, etc., then you are trying to figure out with pre-med counselors and pre-health counselors how to integrate the medical school requirements during your undergraduate time.
Perfect. Thank you. Our next question. What kind of scholarships are available for the SJV Prime Plus program?
So in terms of financial aid and scholarships, the first portion of financial aid is dependent on your UC application. And there's different kinds of aid that is, the different kinds of aid available to the student that comes from the institution, whether it is UC-wide or campus-specific. And then there's a separate financial award for those who are offered SJV Prime Plus. And I can show one of those slides if you want to move to the next question.
Sure, that would be great. Yep. Let's go ahead and move down. The next question. What high school courses are recommended for the SJV Prime program?
The minimum high school courses would be the A through G courses. And then in terms of being prepared for pre-med and then eventually into medical school, it would have to be STEM related.
Very good. The next question coming in has to do with where they can send emails. So just another quick reminder, we have dropped some information over into the chat box for you. So you can take a look there. There are some websites that you can click on. Also, you can grab your smartphone, take pictures there. And we also had the slides up that we can put up a bit later and also give you that opportunity again so that you can see those and you can take some more pictures of those. But as I said, we have dropped some of that information over into the chat box. All right. Did you want to go over this slide, Noreen?
Sure. Just referencing back to the original question about scholarships and aid. This list here actually lists the types of aid that will be considered based on your UC application. And any of these listed here as part of that. And again, the SJV Prime Plus award is separate.
Very good. The next question, if I apply to the BS to MD program for a specific major, but I don't get accepted into SJV Prime Plus, would I still be able to attend UC Merced for the chosen major?
Yes, so there's two offers. The first offer will always be the UC offer. Those go out in March. Any supplemental applications you've submitted to our campus or another campus, that gets decided later, and that's the other offer. So someone who does not get into Prime Plus, but does get into UC Merced, then you would be offered the UC Merced, you'd be given a UC Merced offer with that particular major.
Very good. Next question. If we get accepted, but we're choosing to attend a different school and a different program, can we decline this program?
Yes, so all UC offers go out in March and April. That's when families and students tend to visit all the UC campuses they got admitted to. and attend a lot of the open houses that are available during April or spring breaks. But what you should remember is that May 1st is the SIR deadline, the statement of intent to register deadline. That's kind of the commitment deadline. So yes, you have until May 1st to decide which offer you want to accept. Great.
All right, the next question here. Is the program planning on adding more slots for future years?
The intent to grow is there, but it's dependent on growing clinical slots and clinical spots at UCSF Fresno. The reminder is that there are medical students already at UCSF Fresno. So those clinical spots are taken and our group hasn't even arrived there yet. So as we continue to grow, it needs to serve both populations, SJV Prime as well as SJV Prime Plus. So growing the program has to match the capacity that UCSF Fresno can take students and assign them to clinical sites and rotations.
And what's the general GPA for the usual applicants for the MD pathway?
All of the applicants, I believe, in terms of those who got admitted, were over a 4.0. And to maintain and stay and keep your award and keep your position and enter medical school, you need to maintain a 3.6 throughout the undergraduate program.
Very good. And what types of extracurriculars are you looking for? For example, either job shadowing, research, or something else?
So the way I'm going to answer this question is, you as a student get to decide what extracurriculars you're interested in. You get to decide why those extracurriculars and the things that you participated in have meaning to you. For sure, if it's related to anything STEM or anything medical, then it's applicable and relevant to what we're trying to do. But we also know that there's a whole person that we're looking at. So other people are interested in other things besides STEM. So there's no one thing where we're looking for what we're looking for. Also because not everyone has access to the same activities. So for anyone in particular, and whoever's asking this question, choose the extracurricular activities that have meaning to you. Choose the extracurricular activities that really show who you are as a person, makes you successful and accomplished, and has you grow to be a leader, allows you to exercise being in a team, etc. And these are the things that you would be explaining on the UC app as well as the Prime Plus app.
Very good. So our next question, if I want to go to medical school, which specific pre-med major should I take? And the example they're giving is a BA or an M or a BS, and what pre-med major?
There is no pre-med major. A student can major in anything during undergrad. The only prerequisite is someone completes the BA or the BS, and they've completed medical school requirements. Medical school requirements, especially in successfully completing the MCAT and preparing for it, is to take BCPM, biology, chemistry, physics, and math. So you could be an economics major, but make sure you're taking biology, chemistry, and physics, math. You could be a fine art major, make sure you're taking biology, chemistry, physics, math. A student during their undergraduate time can major in anything. You're just going to be successfully completing the BA or BS along with the pre-med requirements and taking the MCAT and submitting your medical school application.
Fantastic. So the next question has to do with the interview process, and they're wondering what that process is like. Are there questions? Where is it located? Those types of things.
Because the panelists for the interview represent all of our partner campuses, the interviews have been on Zoom. And they will be 30 minutes, and there's a standard set of questions that we're asking every candidate. And again, we are looking to do interviews in February in order to send out offers in March so that families have time to explore and decide in April and commit by May 1st.
Very good. For our letters from the recommenders, from those writers, would it be best to have someone related to science and biology who is the person that's writing that? Is that recommended?
One of the two is recommended to be somebody that's related to the STEM subjects. So it from an instructor related to STEM. The other one can be from non-STEM. Usually it's been a coach, a mentor, a supervisor, a counselor. Regardless of the two, it's got to be somebody that knows who you are and can share who you are and what you've done.
And are any AP courses transferable to the Prime Plus program?
AP courses are considered in terms of your UC application and being eligible, as well as seeing that you've met the A through G requirements. Some students take the AP course, but don't take the AP exam. If you're one of those trying to take the AP exam and receive credit, that will be reviewed in terms of the admissions offer. Additionally, depending on the degree that you're choosing, working with the degree academic advisor for that degree will let you know if that AP course satisfies that degree requirements for lower division.
Very good. And what is the timeline again, if we can review that, for when they would get the results if they got admitted to the Prime Plus program? I think we've mentioned it a couple times, but if we can review that, that'd be great.
Sure. All UC applications must be submitted by November 30th with the supplemental application and the contact information of 2 letters of recommenders by December 7th. December 14th is the deadline for your recommenders to submit their letter. And then we will be inviting students to interview for February. Offers go out in March. April is the month to think about it, and May 1st is the deadline to commit.
Very good. Now, this next question, I want to make sure that I ask it since someone did take the time to send it in, but it's a bit of a duplicate from one a few minutes ago. But let's go ahead and just address it here. What are some specific extracurricular activities that are favored by SJV Plus or Prime Plus program? I know we talked about shadowing and research and those types of things, but can we touch on that again?
Yep. So this is in regards to timeline. So related to extracurricular activities, the ones that are STEM related and that show you have explored the medical or healthcare field, so the shadowing and observation in a medical context is helpful. But it is not helpful if you didn't enjoy doing those things, or you are not able to explain how that expanded your thinking, how that continued your motivation for the field, how that clarified why you wanted to major and what you wanted to major. So yes, you can do STEM related activities as well as medical context activities. But more importantly, how that's going to translate is into your application. If it's just a list of activities for us that we just read off and nothing shows on your PIQs or letters of rec to explain why those activities were meaningful, then we're suggesting you do extracurricular activities that are meaningful for you and can show who you are, again, as a leader, as a team member, how you are in interaction with others, etc.
Fantastic. And then you did just now put this slide back up here for everyone to take a look at. And it does look like a timeline. Now, this next question, again, it sounds similar to one previous, but you have the slide up, so I'll go ahead and ask it. When is the timeline for when we should be getting our results if we've gotten admitted into the Prime Plus program? Does this slide answer that question?
Yep. So program acceptances, you see this huge arrow, will be in March. We had program acceptances in April last year. That's why that arrow is reversed back to March. So all offers will be going out in March. UC offers and Prime Plus offers.
And the next question, if we get rejected by the MD program, can we reapply to that med school after undergrad?
So if someone does not get accepted to Prime Plus, but decides to come to UC Merced or another UC, you would be choosing SJV Prime through the UCSF School of Medicine and applying directly to the UCSF School of Medicine. So someone cannot reapply to Prime Plus because that is the high school 8-year structured program. But someone who wants to continue with their undergrad or even CC to undergrad, you'd be looking at a traditional application in medical school after you've completed the BS or BA or BS.
Great. And then does this program have a wait list? And if so, how does that work?
Yes. So after the interviews and when the committee makes selections, they are actually also making a wait list in terms of beyond the 12 that get offered. And that wait list is there because some people might have chosen to go to a different UC. Some people may not have committed by May 1st, or people change their mind during the summer. So yes, there is a wait list.
Very good. And are people somehow they're notified that they didn't make the original group, but they are now on a wait list?
Yeah, so there are 3 types of offers for Prime Plus. It's the offer itself. The other one is a wait list, and then the other one is a rejection.
Perfect. All right. The next question, how many recommendation letters are needed and who should they be getting those from? Again, we've touched on this a bit, but let's go ahead and address this one.
Sure. 2 are required for the Prime Plus. We're the suggestion to you, though, is to ask at least 3 people because we have noticed that sometimes an instructor hasn't submitted. But whatever the case may be, you should at least have 2 to complete the supplemental application itself and submit by December 7th. 2 is what's required. But you should keep up with your recommenders and make sure they submitted by the December 14th deadline.
Very good. And then let's see, the next question, is the medical training the same as residency training?
Residency is after medical school. So medical school is the doctoring skills, the clinical on-site practice, and the clinical rotations in different departments, and being supervised and trained by preceptors in different areas of the hospital or different specialties. Residency comes when you are a 4th-year medical student applying for residency, meaning you're applying for your home hospital to do your specialty and fellowship training. It is your 4th year when you decide what kind of doctor you want to be. If you want to be a cardiologist, primary care physician, OBGYN, emergency medicine, that is not done during medical school. That is done during residency after medical school.
So once they've been accepted into the SJV Prime Plus and they've done the attending of the UCSF portion, is there something else that they need to sign up for, another pathway that then specifies they want to be a general practitioner or sports medicine or something else?
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's similar to the answer I just gave. So the program, the SJV Prime Plus BS to MD program is 8 years, 4 years of the BS, 4 years of medical school. Your 4th year of medical school, you are applying for residency, which is after medical school. It's your 4th year that you're deciding orthopedic sports medicine. It's when you're deciding anesthesiologist. It's when you're deciding cardiologist. In your 4th year, you're applying to those vacancies, those residency vacancies. And then by the end of your medical school, you will be matched and have a home hospital where all of your specialty training will occur.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. How many applicants will be offered an interview?
We don't know that number at this time.
Will the UC application and the BS to MD supplementals be considered separately, or are those looked at and considered together?
They're considered together.
Very good. Do they have different deadlines? Maybe we should touch on that here as we're getting closer to the end one more time. If we have that slide, it might be a nice opportunity to bring it up for folks to take a look and take a picture if they need to. And I'll go ahead and move on to the next question here. Will the entire program be 8 years at UC Merced?
So it is an 8-year program with the first 4 years for your bachelor's at UC Merced. And then the first 1.5 years of medical training, you stay at UC Merced. And then the last 2.5 years with the clinical rotations and site-based work and training is done at UCSF Fresno. So of the 8 years, the last 2.5 are at UCSF Fresno.
Very good. And this question might be a little similar, but again, I want to make sure we're getting to everyone's specific question tonight. Is the residency program after medical school restricted to hospitals in California?
So the whole goal of the SJV Prime and SJV Prime Plus program is that somebody becomes a practicing doctor in the Central Valley. And so the hope is that, again, after completing 8 years here, being embedded in the community, being mentored and trained and connected to the community and the needs here, you are applying for residency here in the Central Valley. It is completely understandable, though, based on someone's specialty, that if a specialty is not here, then you're going to be going to a location where your specialty is. So I'm being extreme in my example. For if there is not a pediatric oncologist residency opening in the Central Valley, then obviously there's no opening here. But there are tons of openings for other specialties, as well as general practitioners, that are needed in the Central Valley. Yep.
Very good. Again, this one kind of sounds a little bit similar, but a little different. So I'll toss it out there for you. In the 4th year of med school or residency, do you have to serve specifically in the San Joaquin Valley or Central Valley? And what happens if you decide later on that you'd like to work in a different state other than California?
Since everybody's asking about this timeline, let me actually just bring up the one I had shown before. Okay. Share this.
And there's another question here I can go ahead and answer while we pause for a second. Yes, we are recording this event, so it will be made available in just a couple of days. As soon as we get that up onto the YouTube channel, we typically post all of our instant replays on YouTube, and those links are available on the events page, which is admissions.ucmerced.edu/events. And I can go ahead and drop that over into the chat. So you can take a look at not only past events in case you're interested, this one as well as any of the future events. You can get yourself registered.
So when the student is offered SJV Prime Plus, and they accept that offer, that 8-year 12-student cohort offer, what they are accepting and contracting to is 4 years of undergrad at UC Merced and medical school training, beginning at UC Merced and finishing at UCSF Fresno. The commitment that you're signing up for in terms of a contract to the UCSF School of Medicine is that you will finish these 8 years. What we're also hoping is that through being with the Central Valley program and pathway, you're wanting to stay and be a physician for the Central Valley. It's the entire initiative about this workforce program. If you really don't want to stay in the Central Valley, we're asking you not to apply. But we also understand that while students are still trying to choose what kind of specialty they want to be in, and those specialty interests change during clinical rotations, you're going to be applying for residencies based on the specialty that you are wanting to go into. And again, residency and continued training and fellowship is after medical school. It is after the 8 years. But the contract is to complete the 8 years.
Wonderful. And now jumping back to the letter of recommendations that they need to do those have to be from teachers that they've had in the past, or can they be from other people that they've possibly volunteered with? Maybe they've been coworkers in the past.
We have had letters of recommendations from people in the past, and as long as the reason why they've been chosen is because they've maintained a continuous relationship with the student, and the student feels like this is the person that knows them well and knows them more. And so, yes, we've accepted those letters of recommendations well.
Okay, let me take a look here. We have a few more questions. And this is again related to the same topic. So how do I invite counselors, teachers, or others to do a letter of recommendation? Do they just give them a call, or is there a form that they submit?
Right now, it's just a verbal ask. It's just a verbal ask to 2 or 3 people that you're interested in speaking on your or writing on your behalf. You're just literally asking their permission to submit their name and email. That's the only thing you need to do as a student, but it is the requirement for completing the supplemental. Out of courtesy, you should be reminding them that the deadline to submit a recommendation on your behalf is December 14th. We do all the technical stuff. You don't submit any PDF, you don't give them a form, you don't download anything. All you're doing in the supplemental app is you're submitting names and emails, and with the understanding that you've already asked them verbally for this permission.
Very good. All right, the next question. So for the SJV Prime Plus, this person is stating that by the time they enroll, they would currently be, or that they're currently halfway through the CNA program at the current school. So once they become a freshman, they would be licensed. And so their question is, does that give them an edge on their application?
So being licensed as a CNA is not a requirement to be in this program, but having that license as a CNA is you explaining that this is where you got your clinical experience, this is where it clarified your motivation and interest and goal of becoming a doctor. I think what you have to make clear is that you want to be a doctor. I think sometimes when people list that, it could show up like you want to be a nurse, and this is not a nursing program. And I think that needs to be clear. So even if it's listed as CNA, it's listed as certified, you'll need to say that experience clarified for you that you wanted to be a doctor. That experience gave you clinical experience at a hospital, but that you're not wanting to be a nurse. If you're wanting to be a nurse, this is not the program to apply for. This is a School of Medicine, and you'd have to look for a School of Nursing. And for others too, you'd have to look for a School of Dentistry, you'd have to look for a School of Pharmacy, etc. SJV Prime Plus is a School of Medicine medical degree program for a practicing physician.
Very good. And now we did mention earlier that for this program, we are looking for diversity and particular values in our applicants. So this person's asking, what do we recommend that they focus more on in their application? Would that be possibly their cultural influences and their passion for medicine from that perspective, or how their values have translated into an interest in medicine? Does it expand beyond that? Is it a combination of everything?
So I'm going to answer this question from a different angle. What I'm understanding is you're trying to address the diversity topic that is on the supplemental. What you should be asking yourself is, what is needed as a skill of a doctor or future doctor, or what is needed as a medical student related to diversity? We're not telling you or defining for you what diversity is. You are explaining to us what diversity means to you, or what parts of what different experiences, identity, cultural values. You are deciding what that means to you as it shapes your view and perspective of practicing medicine. If a cultural difference leads you to be a better doctor for a specific community, then you would say that. If your linguistic ability helps you understand those that are non-native English speakers, you would say that. but we are not dictating for you what diversity means. It's that there are assets that people bring from diverse experiences, diverse backgrounds, diverse cultures, diverse language, diverse nationalities, ethnicities, and you are deciding which of those are important to you and which of those you're bringing with you as a future medical student and as a future doctor. And that actually is what's, and then telling us why it's relevant for the Central Valley.
Very good. And we are nearing the end here, but I will squeeze in one more question here. So being a cohort of 12 students, what's the difference in a normal undergraduate pre-med pathway in comparison to the SJV Prime Plus program?
Yeah, so the Prime Plus students, I think I should put this up again, what they're offered. It's up again. A regular student admitted to the university can be pre-med or pre-health. That student has the leeway in terms of coursework, classes, pace, as well as designing your own undergraduate experience, going abroad for classes or finishing early, getting a dual major or a minor. And so there's more flexibility to enter the university and decide what kind of experience you want to have as pre-med or pre-health. In terms of SJV Prime Plus, we are directing that experience to be completed in 8 years, and we are supporting it, supporting it with the experiences that I shared so that it helps prepare them for the medical training. So again, as a reminder, there's a financial award related to this offer, priority registration in coursework, and priority registration in the pre-med requirements, an assigned spot on the living and learning community floor. No MCAT is needed. If you were to just be a pre-med, pre-health major on your own, you would be taking the MCAT. And then we've held the spot for medical school, but community engagement, volunteerism, research, clinical observation, and mentorship is integrated throughout the 8 years. Again, it's more structured. There's defined support. And again, this is for the Prime Plus 8-year, 12-person cohort. A student just wanting to be pre-med and pre-health continues to get guidance from their pre-health advisor during undergrad.
Very good. Thank you so much, Noreen. It looks like we have gotten to all of our questions tonight. And actually, there is one more. Let me toss it out there. Just to clarify, when in the SJV Plus program, students are not able to travel abroad as part of their schooling. Is that correct? I know we talked about out of state and out of this, Central Valley area.
Actually, we do recognize that people come in with a lot of dual credit, and they come in with not just dual credit, but college credit. And so this question has come up several times. We will review it on a case-by-case basis because it's really dependent on the student. It's dependent on the student and what degree they're getting, and it's dependent on where they're going to want to go and for how long, in terms of a semester or year or the summer, and see what else it impacts in terms of the rest of the training for the Prime Plus students. So yes, it's possible for a student to do some kind of coursework abroad. It's handled on a case-by-case basis, but the limiting factor is whatever it is you do, dual major, minor, going abroad, it doesn't extend the 8 years. It doesn't extend the 4 years of the undergrad.
Very good. Well, that does wrap up our evening together tonight. Wonderful information, so much information as well. So once again, we did record this event tonight. I did drop over into the chat box. Go ahead and hop over there really quickly. Start clicking on those links while we wrap up and have our last words here. And you can take a look at that on-demand instant replay probably tomorrow, if not by the end of this week. We should have that up and available. We also have a very diverse list of other events that are coming up all the way through the month of November and beyond. So we always have these great webinars. They're so much fun to be able to meet you guys this way and get all this information out to you and then make those replays available to you later on. So you can watch those at your leisure and take your time and get those screenshots and contact information that you need. Again, those are over in the chat box. Before we do close out though, Noreen, is there anything else that you'd like to mention tonight to our audience?
No, just thanks for taking the time to be here. I know this is important to you and we want to give you good information so you make some clear decisions. If you want more information, this is the overview webinar, so please go back to the recording if you missed some information. But the next 3 webinars related to SJV Prime Plus will be application workshops. So if you're interested in that, the next one is actually October 3rd. It's listed on the admissions events page, and same way you've registered for this.
Yes, and I just dropped that one more time over in the chat box, so you have a few seconds there. All right, like I said, we're wrapping up here. A big thank you to Noreen, to Dustin, as well as Ruben, who's been behind the scenes with fast fingers getting to some of those questions as well. Always such a great time to have you guys here. We look forward to seeing you again online as well as in person. Hopefully sometime. We have campus tours available, so if you haven't yet had an opportunity to visit UC Merced in person, we encourage that as well. My name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you next time. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you.